Hey everyone, how's it going? My name is Jay and welcome to the channel and welcome back to Sorna Emergent Biopark in Jurassic World Evolution, a project where we're aiming to build a biologically accurate dinosaur park and preserve with the use of mods. In today's episode, we're going to return to somewhat of a familiar habitat build. It's something we've done before, but not quite to this scale. We're going to be building a habitat for the larger megafauna of the Hell Creek Formation, with the exclusion of one particularly prominent resident, which we'll talk about later. But so this is really a habitat we've done before plenty of times. You've seen me do the Hell Creek Formation several times, but it's just so prominent we cannot not include it, especially in our final park build before Jurassic World Evolution 2. It's just such a lovely habitat to build in because we know so many species that lived here. We have great mods for so many of the species that lived here. And of course, it's just some of the most well-known dinosaur beds. We know what the ecosystem was like. We know, what the animals were like there. And we have all of these here in the game. So it's really just worth doing one final attempt at Hell Creek here before we move on to the next game. And I really enjoyed this build. It's a huge build. This is probably one of the larger habitats we've ever done for any of the bioparks, like I said. And it turned out really nice. We got to use a lot of these really nice rocks here. To create what feels a bit like a kind of a rocky valley with a lot of small ponds and lakes, which is what I assume, rain would have collected in a deeper sort of valley area and led to what would be a very lush environment for all these herbivores to congregate and kind of have a nice little watering hole kind of element almost. And it's just I really like the vibe of the habitat, and it is going to be a very biodiverse area. We're going to have lots of animals in here, a tremendous amount. It's going to be a lot. All of them are going to be from the Hell Creek, with the exception of one, which is the Alamosaurus. It's a beautiful mod made by DLY. In fact, one of my favorite sauropod mods, period. Alamosaurus is known from kind of the south, a bit further south in the US than Hell Creek, I believe. Though it would have coexisted with almost all the other animals that lived here. It's just one of those things where I don't think it was specifically found in Hell Creek. But everything else will have been found there. We're going to be including quite a lot of dinosaurs, of course. We're going to be including Jagged Fang Designs. Excellent mods. We have the Torosaurus, is it just the Torosaurus? A Pachycephalosaurus, I believe. And the Edmontosaurus, of course, cannot do a park without including that beauty. The Edmontosaurus The Edmontosaurus is really special to me because the base game Edmontosaurus is one of the best dinosaurs in the base game. It's beautifully done. And the mod is also one of the best mods that's ever been made for the game. The Edmontosaurus is perfect and just gorgeous. So it's really just a great dinosaur to add, vanilla or modded. And it's beautiful. I really love it. So had to add it in here. Those are the two Jagged Fang Designs mods. Both are great, and I've used them both in almost all my other park builds just because it's so lovely. The Torosaurus especially, I think, really looks quite nice. Beyond that, we also have Pachycephalosaurus by, I think it's, so the Pachycephalosaurus is by Jagged Fang Designs, if I'm not mistaken. But we're also including an Ankylosaurus, which is by Digital Duck, I think. All the links to the mods will be in the description down below. I do apologize if I get any wrong. I'm doing this off memory. But, of course, just huge props to all the mod authors for creating such incredible animals here. We're also including a huge flock of Struthiomimus, which was by Digital Duck, of course, who made a feathered dinosaur mod, which has great feathered Struthiomimus. One thing I didn't know is Struthiomimus is actually part of the Hell Creek Formation. I always thought it was just Ornithomimus, but turns out Struthiomimus was there too, which is great, which means I don't have to install another mod. There's a quite good Ornithomimus mod on the Nexus as well, so I would recommend if you want that animal in your park to go check that out. But yeah, just really a ton of animals in this park build today. If I'm not mistaken, that should be it. But I might be forgetting something. It ends up looking really nice. I put in quite a lot of each animal. Struthiomimus by far is the most popular. We have nearly 30 of them, maybe more, like 35 probably. We have a herd of about 20 Torosaurus, about 20 Edmontosaurus, and then a few of each of the others, like I think we ever heard of like maybe like 6 pachycephalosauruses and maybe 4 ankylosaurs, something like that, and then just 3 of the sauropod, the Alamosaurus. And I think the balance works out pretty well for what would be a herd dinosaur and what might not be necessarily. Of course, in terms of which dinosaurs would have been living in herds, it's hard to say because fossils are so fragmentary sometimes. Of course, with ceratopsians and hadrosaurs and stuff like that, we have seen fossils where they just congregate like in huge numbers, so we can assume quite thoroughly that they would have lived in herds. Stuff like Struthiomimus, it's less clear. It's likely they would have lived in herds, but we don't know for sure. They could have been more like just kind of gathered together out of opportunity if there was a lot of food in a certain area. So we just don't know for sure when it comes to specific dinosaur species. But yeah, and I wanted to create kind of like another temperate rainforest, well, not really temperate rainforest, but temperate forest kind of vibe with this one. Probably temperate rainforest. Of course, because the vanilla tree brush has so many tropical trees, it's hard to create a completely temperate vibe. But I think this is quite similar to what, well, I say this, it's not necessarily quite similar at all, but it kind of replicates what I think the climate was kind of like in Hell Creek, where it was lush, it was green, but it wasn't necessarily completely tropical. It was probably more temperate than tropical, but it's a good middle ground, and I think this kind of captures that feel quite well. Of course, we can't be super accurate with the flora. If you want to see accurate flora for Hell Creek Formation, I believe the game Saurian, all the plants are accurate at the time as well, which is a crazy endeavor to do. Like, it's one thing getting the animals accurate for the time period. The foliage and the, ground cover and stuff like that, getting that accurate is a whole other beast. And, it's such a huge thing to tackle. I think Saurian did that pretty well. I haven't heard many updates from the game in quite a while. I used to follow it quite closely and I thought it was really cool. I view it more like a really interesting kind of paleontological reconstruction project as opposed to a game, because it really does quite a great job at recreating that environment. But when I played it last, which was quite a while ago, I wasn't super into the gameplay aspect as much as I was into the idea of the project, I think. But still, I think it's a brilliant tool just to learn about Hell Creek. So do check out Saurian if you haven't already, though, I mean, if you're watching a Jurassic World Evolution playthrough, I'm sure you've heard of it at some point. But yeah, that was just an interesting little tidbit. And speaking of Hell Creek, we can of course not miss out the kind of the star of the show, the most famous resident of Hell Creek, the most famous dinosaur of all time, Tyrannosaurus Rex. The, single, like, dinosaur that would pop into anyone's head when you think of the word dinosaur. And of course we have to include T-Rex. We're not going to make a park without including Tyrannosaurus. I'm pretty sure I've included T-Rex in all my parks so far. Actually, thinking about it, I might not have included it in Matancero's Emergent Biopark. Let me know if I did. I can't quite remember. I might have, I might not have, who knows. In the last park build, we did a kind of a family of T-Rexes using one of the Nanotyrannus mods. In this case, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be using a new mod for the T-Rex. Not necessarily new, but newer in terms of when this series came out. When the previous series came out, sorry. And it's going to be the Cretaceous Calamity T-Rex, which is a really nice mod, like, really nice. I love it. It's a very chunky T-Rex, which is, like, I love my dinosaurs to have, like, a good bit of chunkiness, because it makes them feel so much more like real animals, because real animals have so much, like muscle mass and, like, just additional, like, weight to them. A lot of dinosaurs do, like, reconstruction do suffer, of course, from shrink wrapping, which is not always a bad thing. Like, there's some dinosaurs which really benefit from somewhat of a more lanky look, because maybe that's kind of the environment they would have lived in, and that would have been a more beneficial body shape, that sort of thing. It's all really dependent on the paleobiology and paleoecology. And again, so much of it is speculative, and I just like kind of the more heavier bodied ones, because it feels like, these large animals would, probably benefit from a body shape somewhat more like that. So, it's just one of those interesting little things, but I don't mind the opposite either. That, like I said, that's a bit of a tangent, but yeah, the Cretaceous Calamity T-Rex specifically, I really like because how it looks. Really heavy bodied, really quite a powerful looking animal. very much in line with a lot of accurate T-Rex depictions, so I think that'll be a really good one. If you want to see a really good accurate T-Rex, I would recommend checking out the model that was made by Blue Rhino Studio for a specific museum, and I can't remember what, but it was a beautiful model. But anyways, that was just a whole bunch of talking about dinosaurs without talking much about the habitat, which is almost done actually now. And we're coming up to the end of the video, so I just want to say, as always, thank you for watching. Next episode will be a live play, of course, where we build the T-Rex habitat that we were talking about just now. And we're going to use some of those cool new T-Rex Kingdom props, but not like the way that, not to make that like little circle kind of arena kind of vibe. We're going to just use the elements and make our own kind of thing. So that'll be fun, I think. But yeah, thanks as always for watching, for supporting the channel. I've been going through a bit of a rough period with my internet being on and off, so uploads are really not as normal as they would be. So thank you as always for bearing with me during this time. And New Plant Zoo DLC coming out soon, so let's keep our eyes out for that, because that'll be a fun playthrough. And as always, like the video if you did like it, subscribe for more Jurassic World Evolution content, and as always, I'll see you all in the next video. Bye!